Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to express our gratitude to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Because of His blessing, we can attend this beautiful event. Secondly, hopefully, salawat serta salam always delivered to our Prophet Muhammad SAW, who has guided us from the Jahiliyah to Islamia, from the darkness to the lightness, namely Islam religion. Third, let's open our mouth today by reciting Basmalah together. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 14th edition of the IST, International Scientific Talk, held by AIS, Aqua International School. It is a platform dedicated to fostering dialogue and sharing information to get insight in several fields and also topics. Today, I am Ahmad Fusiari. I'm a Bahasa Indonesia language teacher. Bahasa Indonesia language teacher. I will become your moderator today. And this event, we have two sections of the discussion. The first one will be delivered by our beloved students, and then the second one will be delivered by our keynote speakers. So, without further ado, let I introduce the first speaker. It is from students. The first one is Maira Aurelia Rahmat. He born in Sultan, and he want to be doctor someday. And he has a motto, don't always depend on other person. And then the second one is Naura Hairania. Lives in dalam Truno Kantan Madiun. He wants to be scientific scientist in someday. And then she has a motto, try harder. Let our decide your future. Without further ado, let's welcome our beloved students, our M.Si.P.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Miss and Mister. We meet again in the next of International Scientific Talk. Here, you with me, Naura Hairania, and I'm Maira Aurelia. Standing in front of you all, we would like to present about childhood trauma.
Before we continue to our presentation, is there any you have childhood trauma or maybe traumatic if you want and if you can sharing now in here together. Raise your hand. Is there any? Just one. Alright, just maybe Miss Farah. Do you have trauma?
Trauma.
Yes.
Do you have that childhood trauma? I have heard from motorcycle when I 6. It's not my wish to ride a motorcycle, but I was still the motorcycle.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Miss Farah, for the story of traumatic. And next, our presentation.
Childhood trauma can be with all people, no matter that is child or adult, because of that we can understand what is the effect of childhood trauma.
Okay. Here, well, it's original. There are not map of stone. This is the wall from Amorin. Do you know why Amorin create this wall? Because some adults often say like they were so young when that happened. So they won't even remember it as an adult. But however, it's important to recognize if childhood trauma can have lifelong effect. Next. This is childhood trauma. What is childhood trauma? Childhood trauma is a different experience by a child that involves fear and is commonly alive, dangerous, and life-threatening. And trauma there is the causes. First causes is this picture of neurological disasters. For example, Kaira. In Kaira's house, there is like hurricane, and she's trauma because the hurricane. And her next causes is bullying. Because this bullying, we can get trauma too. And the third is broken home. Maybe with broken home, when the father and mother is fight, if there is child, the child can see and hear, and it's dangerous because the child can copy the parents' condition in the future. For next, childhood trauma and test. I have the video and I hope you enjoy it.
These memories just keep going around and around.
School, there's so many people and so much noise. Sometimes I just want to burst.
When I sleep, the nightmares always come. So I force myself to stay awake.
Did you know that at least 1 in 3 children experience trauma before their 8th birthday? Traumas are situations where you feel very scared or unsafe. It might also be where you feel very frightened for the safety of the life of someone else. Sometimes these are one-off events, or sometimes they happen lots of times. It might be hard to even remember one time from another. When a person has experienced trauma, it can make them feel unsafe or unsure about the world. It can be normal to feel this way right after you go through trauma, as you make sense of what happened. But if these feelings last for months and make life harder, it could be PTSD. PTSD stands for post-traumatic stress disorder. Sometimes people think PTSD
What is PTSD? PTSD is condition when condition mental health if when someone have traumatic, and the example of PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder. And
Childhood trauma also have an impact, of course. Now, this is the impact, a big impact from childhood trauma. The first impact, relationship. A good relationship with caregivers, whether they be parents, grandparents, or other familial or non-familial, is a vital to their emotion and physical health. Children learn a lot from caregivers. For example, the first is children learn how to trust others and then to manage emotion and positively interaction with the world around them. Children that ever get traumatic experience, they will feel they cannot trust or rely on that caregiver. They are likely to believe that the world around them is a scary place and people are dangerous. For example, like this picture. This is Mona, the black blonde girl. Mona ever get traumatic experience at school. She ever get bullying and other verbal bullying came. When Mona changed her school to the other, Mona met with other students, of course. Here, the students look like kind and friendly, right? But in Mona's view are different. They look like angry and scary to Mona. This is the impact of childhood trauma. The reality when the few people will be different. And then childhood traumas are not only to children, but also in adults. For example, they also like to struggle with traumatic relationship in adults. For example, suppose those with a story of child abuse tend to have less satisfying marriage, even when still in the newlywed phase. From this, we know that childhood trauma are not only to children, but it is impact to until adult.
next,
On the other hand, repeated experience of trauma in childhood can make people feel like they are not capable of having healthy and nurturing relationships. The quote is also from Annie Morning. The quote expresses how big impact of childhood trauma. The first impact is insecure. The children will feel insecure to other people. And the second impact is they will think that am I good enough to get this kindness? Because as the children, they always get trauma and bullying. Children will feel like am I good enough to get this kindness or goodness? The next is how to help children have traumatic experience. The first is The first is encourage their child how to talk about their feelings and validate their emotions. This way we can do with deep talk to our parents or our near people. I can say it. And then next is help them understand that they are not at fault. Next is answer their question honestly. Next is reassure the child that you will do everything you can to keep them safe. Because people that even get traumatic experience, they will feel unsafe and scared of the world. Because of that, we as parents or friends, we should give feeling safe to the baby. Next is stick to a daily routine as much as possible. In here, daily routine, it means like happy activity. With happy activity like cooking together and telling story, playing together, children can forget their problems. And the next is be patient as each child recovers at their own pace.
Finish for presentation and your nice attention. And this is time for question section. Is there?
Thank you very much for your attention. And the last we say,
Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, give applause for all the members to present the article about childhood trauma. Okay, next we will, it is the Q&A section. I will two question first. There are one question. Okay, one question first. The first one. Is there any questions from Zoom or is there any question in Zoom? There is no in this room. There is no question. Okay, yes. Okay, because there is no question, I want to ask your perception, Miss Alice. Please come forward. Related to the children trauma.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I want to ask you something about childhood trauma. Okay. Let's say if I have a childhood trauma and I never treat it before, then I'm adult now. What is the first step to heal it or to recover it? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. So it is the answer section where it can be answered by the speaker, oral or maybe higher. Just please come forward and answer the question from Miss Alice. The question is, if the adult has a trauma when they are child, how the first step that they have to do? Something like that. Thank you. Or maybe together is okay? Give you the additional answer maybe? No, just higher.
For that question, of course, when we ever get a traumatic experience when we were children and then you're adult, of course the traumatic will be dangerous now and at adult. So the first time, I think you can do some activities that will realize your traumatic from your brain. It's like yoga. You can join yoga yoga club, and then there is special yoga for people who ever get traumatic. I think you can join the yoga and then you will realize your traumatic.
Enough. Is there any additional? Enough. Okay. Thank you very much for the time. Thanks guys. Actually, it's a good thing because currently we are here from social media that bullying and so on that will make trauma can be realized, can be minimized by using the step that we can do in other. So, without further ado, let me move to the second section. It is the section that will be delivered by our keynote speaker. And before we start the talk, let me introduce our keynote speaker. Our keynote speaker today is Mr. Alfian Inzia Fusiari, M.Si.P, MM. Mr. Alfian is a physics teacher in Alfian International Schools. He was born in Ngawi, September 13, 1991. He graduated from State University of Surabaya in 2016 in physics education major, and also continued their education in master degree in ITB, Teknologi Bandung, Institut Teknologi Bandung, in 2019, and then also continued their master degree in Sekolah Tinggi Ilmu Ekonomi IDMT Surabaya in 20 and 21. So without further ado, let's please welcome our keynote speaker, Mr. Alfian. Time is yours.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much for the opportunity of Mr. Ahmad to give me time to do some review about the journal that I've been prepared quite literally 2 days ago. So 2 days ago, I found really interesting journal that it is related to my field of study. It is particle physics, but in this case, we are gonna study or discuss about the student interest in this topic, which is particle in physics. This journal is read by I don't know what is the name, Sarah Dolskin, Martin Fox, Julian Wojcicki, Sasha Sinley. It is a German researcher, I believe, and they do research about this by conducting tests around 99 student German speaking 9th grade students. So for today we will discuss how to improve or gain the student interest, particularly in the particle physics. Okay. So in this time, we're going to discuss what the importance about this study is, what the problem that researchers facing during their studies about this, and how to develop the interestingness of students when they are studying about particle physics. Then we're going to develop the researchers, develop some instrument to measure how the level of interestingness in each student about the topic particle physics. And the conclusion, hopefully we can get a recommendation from this paper or this journal, so we can as educators, as teachers, can implement it in our students to gain their interest in our subject, of course. Next. So first of all, why we need to learn this research? First of all, interestingness in physics basically much lower compared with biology and chemistry. It's been proved by the research. And also by doing research of this research, hopefully we can solve the main problem in particle physics, which is study about some abstract theories that cannot be demonstrated, cannot be seen, and cannot be illustrated using some demonstration, I believe. Because as you know, if you are learning about the particle physics, probably Mr. Zach here, still remember, because my fellow teachers there, my fellow physics teachers. In particle physics, first of all, for example, we have body of human. Body of human is content of cells. In each cell is content of molecule. In molecule is basically combining atoms one and another. And inside the atom, there is something called subatomic particle. When we are talking about subatomic particle, we are already in the field of studying particle of physics. The standard of model that everyone learned in particle physics is something like this. In these pictures, it is probably you know some of it. There is electron on it, muon, photon, and so on. If you are confused, I can make sure it is. This is when we are studying about particle physics. It's quite advanced. So why we using this on 9 Because in order to gain the interestingness, we need something that zero interest first, zero knowledge first. In order to get the interestingness, they need to have zero knowledge, and on that they can stimulate their emotion, some interest to something. So the purpose of this research, hopefully, all of us can make instrument that can measure interestingness of student studying particle physics. Because after we study about particle physics, after we know the level of interestingness in particle physics, we can get some knowledge on it. So, and the next is student interest in physics. Student interest in physics can be categorized or divided into 4 components here: content, context, task, and learning environment. Content in here basically as a topic in general, specific topic or something, and context is more real relationship with the real world application or setting that needs with concept of physics present on it. The task itself is basically like experiment or doing assignment, something like that. The learning environment is like physical and virtual space such as school, learning center, and so on. Among these all 4, which one do you think most important part? Means Shahid. Try guess it. Which one is more? Among these 4, is more interesting part, most important part for the student to gain the interest.
Learning environment.
Learning environment. Any others who have guessed? Miss Alicia? Activity. Any others who guess? That's correct. This most important to gain the interest is the context. If someone still confused, what difference is between content and context? Anyone can still be confused?
Context
And content.
real application, I think, sir.
Give examples, sir.
Previously,
Yes.
I applied the concept of center of mass. Why a car with higher one is easier to compose than lower one. Why? I use the concept of center of mass. So it real application. Why Racing cars usually lower height. The height is low. Why? Because it has a greater sustainability based on center of mass concept like that. Yeah. So it real case that I can explain to my students.
Yes. Or who doesn't know the basics? Basically, I give you small, simpler analogy. If you have a glass of water, the water itself is a constant. The glass of water itself is contact. The water itself is content, and the glass is content. In here, among all these four, content is most important part. Then content starts environment. Why is so? We will be studying. We will look at it after this. Next, please. Then how we develop the interestingness to the student. There are two basic concepts to gain their interestingness. The first one is person-object theory interest. The second one is the four-phase interest development. And psychologically, to gain interestingness about something, you need an object and also the person who interested in it. In order to get interested to something, you need something that interesting and the person who interested on. That's the concept of person-object theory interest. The next one is how to develop it become something that more advanced is using four-phase model interest development. In this model, we divide it into two: individual interest, which is kind of like individual interest. The second one is situational interest, which is triggered by the external value to someone like this. I can demonstrate using this schematic. Next. Okay. Using this schematic, in order to gain interestingness to someone or students, first of all, there's also person here is you can call it as student. The second one is there's something interesting, we call it as object. By combining them, we can trigger situational interest. Situational interest need to be maintained, need to be merging in order to become individual interest. So this situational interest become individual interest is how we develop interest to someone. From using usually habituational, you can stimulate from the others externally using this concept. Then how we measure the interestingness of something using researcher using IPN interest project node. Later on, by researcher develop it into IPPN, instrument of particle physics interest. In order to gain the data from it, they are using the introductory text and also rating item. Introductory testing item, which I'll show you. For example, like this. It is the item that they show to students. They show to students to analyze what the level of interestingness each item that they showed them. For example, I showed them the learning mark about masses of elements, particles, is comparison to each other. Is quite less interesting compared to transforming your mobile phone into particle detectors and using it directly. So basically, when you are using this kind of item, it's really more interesting compared to something like looking more generally, something like that. In more details, I can show you this details result. Basically, they divide it into three levels. First one is level of broad interest, the upper one. The middle one is level of open interest. The lower one is level of focus interest. basically the level, the middle one, need to be have relationship between topic and also the real life problem. But the upper one need to be more scientific to gain that interestingness, and for the lower one need to just kind of like emotional interest for you. So between these three, all of them, the most important one is down there. For example, in here, if you pick on that, says learning more about how particle physics help understand the Big Bang. You know what the Big Bang is? It's the how our universe made up. The first explosion that created the universe. It's called Big Bang. Something like that. Or in conclusion? In conclusion, level of interest student, particle physics based on context. As we discussed before, all of four, the most important part is the context. And for teaching physics, hopefully we can provide them the opportunity to be amazed. Students become amazed first to gain the spark their curiosity, interestingness. Encouraging discussion and reflection on social important science such as direct social issues like global warming or something. Showing physical parasites in human bodies related to your bodies must be gonna be more interesting. So for educational practice, between these three levels of interestingness, we can give a treatment to students in different ways, such as most students gonna need particle physics in relation with their own body or social science issue, existential question, humankind, culture, their interest. For the less interest student will be needed to do physical setting in every aspect of their interestingness. Last one, we need more scientific approach to gain that interesting. That's all. And for my review about this journal, I will give back again to Mr. Ahmad. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi
Discussion about the implementation in basic education. So today I will give the opportunity for the audience either in a room or in a Zoom to give one maybe question. Is there any question from you? How about from audience in this room? There is none. Okay, because there is no question, I want to hear the opinion about this talk, this discussion from also our physics teacher. It is Mr. Zahir to give the maybe the opinion or maybe some question related to our discussion this afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Zahir, as the fellow teacher from Alfian.
Okay, thank you for the question. I just sharing maybe as a physics teacher, I also found some problem if I need some topic that most of the topic only calculation, only messy calculation, so I cannot deliver the topic well. Very well. Thanks God, but yeah. That is bad. The easiest way to make illustration of the phenomenon of physics, it can make interest our students, and I think right now as a teacher we also need to know to make a real experiment that show our student just not can observe by simulation, but also can study from the real case, the real world. Yeah, I think. Based on your opinion, also the best way to teach physics is by real phenomena or context like that. But maybe you have another suggestion to me. I find a topic that it's most of the topic only about calculation. What is the best way as a teacher to find or deliver some topic that mostly using calculation? Like that. Yeah. Okay, I think enough for presentation.
I give you the microphone and you give to others. Thank you. Okay, it is the end of the session in our discussion, guys. And then there is some note from me related to our discussion. The first one is related to the children. There is still something. I will open one question. Okay, it's time for Alfian to answer the question from Mr. Dev. The question is related
How we deliver that mostly calculation.
okay, to deliver the material that it's hard to deliver to the student. Thank you. Question.
I can not think what the subject or topic that did that, but mostly where I got this journal, there is one journal that really interests me more about this. It's about how to teach physics without any calculation. I would like to read down that one to answer your question, but based on my experience, in order to teach physics only by calculation without any demonstration, sir. Yes, sir. Such as what topics that we can think about?
Maybe as there are derivation some topic that student need to derivation like Lorentz.
Lawrence.
What is it?
Kemudian physics.
Modern physics.
Nuclear physics. Like that. So we just pay attention on calculation first.
Yes, basically modern physics or particle physics is the same problem with this one. We cannot demonstrate it.
Yeah.
We can't.
Mostly.
Yes, and it's only can like doing the equational calculation like that, right? So in order to gain the interestingness about that, we can apply this kind of teaching for students. Basically, we need to introduce the context of use not only in daily life but also in a scientific studies too. And also, what I got is you need to gain like a known to them that as trigger the emotional something, because in physics we study in universe, right? We study in physics basically universal studies. Study everything that happen around you. Unlike biology, probably on living things, and chemistry only in biology. And physics study everything. That's why it's less interesting than biology and also according to study. So it's same problem with me actually. Right? That's why I found out this journal is really interesting, because
how we can like improve or gain the interesting of student to study something like really abstract. We cannot demonstrate it. Basic is hard.
Basic is oh, why you promote basic is hard to you? That's why I'm not promote it. Basic is fun.
That's why I'm not being basic student. Basic teachers. I can comfort something that. That's all, Professor.
Yeah.
We are confused. That's all. And thank you Mr. Alfian for answering the question. Clear enough, Mr. Zaid? Clear enough. Okay, it is our end section. This is the end of the section of our discussion today, guys. This is some note for me for the first one in about children trauma. Children trauma is not only happen in the children but also for the adult. The best way to minimize the trauma is by something like find the interesting one or maybe interesting hobby in order to forget the trauma, such as doing yoga. And then the second one is do a physical learning, especially for the particle physics that actually cannot measure and cannot see and something like that. It will be a challenge for the physics teacher, yeah? But it can be interesting. It can be done by using appropriate methodology and also appropriate approach. Something like we have to find what is the context and the contents. It is for me as the moderator. Thank you very much for your attention, guys. And then let's close our discussion by reciting Hamdalah together. Alhamdulillah. And see you in the next IC in March edition. Thank you very much.